Good morning, School of Light. I'm going to be reading through from chapter 48 in Genesis onward. And before we get started, I just want to tell everybody a little bit about the School of Light. Here's an example. It's an online, or correction, mail correspondence course with a prepaid envelope. It's totally free for you. You don't have to pay anything. And then as you go through the courses, there's this little sheet here that has the answer sheet. You put it up, put in the pre-addressed stamped envelope that we send you, send it back to us. We grade it, we record it, and at the end of a series, you get a certificate of completion. You know, certificate of completion, and it can lead to college credit if that's for you. All right, let's hop right to it. Genesis chapter 48. This is after Israel or Jacob promised or made Joseph promise, I think it was. I think so, to not let him be buried with the Egyptians, but to go back to his people. And so, yeah, it was Joseph, he told him. Chapter 48, Genesis. Sometime later, Joseph was told, "Your father is ill." So he took his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, along with his son Joseph. When Jacob was told, "Your son Joseph has come to you," Israel rallied his strength and sat up on his bed. Jacob said to Joseph, "God Almighty appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and there he blessed me. And he said to me, I'm going to make you fruitful and will increase your numbers. I will make you a community of peoples, and I will give this land as an everlasting possession to you and your descendants." It's a good promise. Now then, your two sons born to you in Egypt before I came to you here will be reckoned as mine. Ephraim and Manasseh will be mine, just as Reuben and Simeon are mine. Any children born to you after them will be yours, and the territory they will inherit will be reckoned under the names of their brothers. As I was returning from Haran, to my sorrow, Rachel died in the land of Canaan while we were still on the way, a little distance from Ephrath, so I buried her there beside the road to Ephrath. When Israel saw the sons of Joseph, he asked, "Who are these?" "These are the sons God has given me here," Joseph said to his father. Then Israel said, "Bring them to me, so I may bless them." Now Israel's eyes were failing because of old age, and he could hardly see. So Joseph brought his sons close to him, and his father kissed them and embraced them. Wow. So Israel, before his name was Israel, he was Jacob, right? Jacob wrestled with God. Israel means, someone who wrestles with God and man and overcomes. And if you remember, for most of Israel's life, or not most of it, for a big chunk of Israel's life after Joseph was born, it appears that Joseph was gone. It also appears that Israel thought Joseph was dead, obviously. Now, it just hit me to think, imagine being older. You thought your son or your daughter was dead. You find out it was a lie. God has raised him up to a position to help you. Later on in life, you finally get reconnected, and he brings his boys. And they say a grandparent's love is something else. I don't understand it. I'm not a grandparent. But I can imagine that Israel was very, very fulfilled in his heart. And so then Joseph removed them from Israel's knees, the children, and bowed down with his face to the ground, showing honor to his father. And Joseph took both of them, Ephraim on his right toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh on his left toward Israel's right hand, and brought them close to him. But Israel reached out his right hand and put it on Ephraim's head, though he was the younger. And crossing his arms, he put his left hand on Manasseh's head. So like this and like this. Put his hand on Manasseh's head, even though Manasseh was the firstborn. Then he blessed Joseph and said, "May the God before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked, the God who has been my shepherd all of my life to this day, the angel who has delivered me from all harm, may he bless these boys. May they be called by my name and the names of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and may they greatly increase upon the earth." When Joseph saw his father placing his right hand on Ephraim's head, he was displeased. So he took hold of his father's hand to move it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's. Joseph said to him, "No, my father, this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head." So this is kind of something I noticed. Israel, at one time, Joseph was his youngest. Joseph was his favorite. Reuben, I believe, is his first. Joseph had the dream. He was the youngest. Even the oldest will serve me. Now, Joseph's older. He wants a blessing for his sons, and he wants the older one to receive the majority of the blessing. And I guess it might have something to do with being the firstborn boy, cultural thing, maybe the guy thing. Hey, this is the first sign of my strength. This is my boy. He's tough and whatever. But whatever the thing is, the motivation, he gets his dad's hand, the one that he's holding on the right, tries to put it back this way. And let's see what happens. But his father refused. Israel refused and said, "I know, my son, I know. He too will become a people, and he too will become great. Nevertheless, his younger brother will become greater than he, and his descendants will become a group of nations." He blessed them that day and said, in your name will Israel pronounce this blessing. May God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh. So he put Ephraim ahead of Manasseh. Then Israel said to Joseph, "I am about to die, but God will be with you and take you back to the land of your fathers. And to you, as one who is over your brothers, I give the ridge of land took from the Amorites with my sword and my bow." So at the very end, as to you, as one who is over your brothers, this is Joseph. He gives more land to Joseph, even though he's like in charge of everything. I took from the Amorites with my sword and bow. Wow. So this is kind of interesting. Joseph has no need, really. He has no want for this land. No need, but is probably going to do well with that property. So why is that unusual? What strikes me about that last verse? Hey, you gonna go hunt? Cool. Oh, okay. I'll just bring it. Hey. Excuse me. I had to check it. It's actually just my brother, but I heard some noise outside. My brother Charles. All right, so you have this, the Joseph. He's the younger. He's in charge of all of Egypt. He said, "Hey, Pharaoh, I would like to have my dad and his people stay in Goshen. Just do it. Put them in Goshen." And then after everything that Joseph has under his hand, Israel, Joseph's dad, says, "I'm going to give you I'm about to die. God will be with you, take you back to the land of your fathers. And as one who is over your brothers, I give you the ridge." So he says, "I'm going to give you the ridge of land I took from the Amorites with my sword and my bow." So that's just, I don't know. That to me, that's something that makes me want to stop and say, well, why did he give it to Joseph? Joseph didn't need it. Um, a lot of people today would say, well, that's not fair. What about the other brothers? They stayed with the dad for so long. He's the one that needed it. And the truth is, God saw something in them, I think, and He lifted them up from that. So we'll end chapter 48 and move right into chapter 49. Then Jacob called for his sons and said, "Gather around, so I can tell you what will happen to you in the days to come. Assemble and listen, sons of Jacob. Listen to your father Israel. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might, the first sign of my strength, excelling in honor, excelling in power. Turbulent as the waters, you will no longer excel, for you went up into your father's bed, onto my couch, and defiled it. Simeon and Levi, brothers." So I just want to stop. There's a lot of things in the Bible that we're like, what's going on here? And this one just caught me. Like, so, Reuben, he was doing well, excelling in power. Turbulent as the waters, he won't excel because he went up unto his father's bed. Let's see, 49:4. Descendants were characterized by indecision. You will no longer excel, for you went up into your father's bed. Wow, I just almost want to stop and talk about that, but I'm going to continue. Simeon and Levi, brothers, their swords are weapons of violence. Let me not enter their council. Let me not join their assembly. For they have killed men in their anger and hamstrung ox as they pleased. Cursed be their anger, so fierce their fury, so cruel. I will scatter them into Jacob and disperse them into Israel. Judah, your brothers will praise you. Your hand will be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's sons will bow down to you. You are a lion's cub, O Judah. You return from the prey, my son. Like a lion, he crouches and lies down. Like a lioness, who dares to rouse him? The scepter will not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet, until he comes to whom it belongs, and the obedience of the nations is his. He will tether his donkey to a vine, his coat to the choicest branch. He will wash his garments in wine, his robes in the blood of grapes. His eyes will be darker than wine, his teeth whiter than milk. Zebulun will live by the seashore and become a haven for ships. His border will extend towards Sidon. Issachar is a raw-boned donkey lying down between two saddlebags, raw-boned. When he sees how good is his resting place and how pleasant is his land, he will bend his shoulder to the burden and submit to forced labor. Oh, raw-boned donkey lying down between two saddlebags. I don't know what raw-bone means, but a donkey laying down between two saddlebags when a donkey's like should be doing some kind of work. So that the picture of a donkey laying down between two saddlebags, interesting. I'm gonna mark that as something next time I come through. Maybe I could do a little bit of in-depth study on that. Dan will provide justice for his people as the one tribes of Israel. Dan will be a serpent by the roadside, a viper along the path that bites the horse's heels so that the rider tumbles backward. I look for your deliverance, O Lord. Gad will be attacked by a band of raiders, but he will attack them at their heels. Asher's food will be rich. He will provide delicacies fit for a king. Naphtali is a doe set free that bears beautiful fawns. Joseph is a fruitful vine near a spring whose branches climb over a wall. With bitterness, archers attacked him. They shot him with hostility. But his bow remained steady. His strong arm stayed limber because of the hand of the mighty one of Jacob, because of the shepherd, the rock of Israel, because of your father's God who helps you, because of the Almighty who blesses you with blessings of the heaven above, blessings of the deep that lies below, blessings of the breast and moon. Your father's blessings are greater than the blessings of ancient mountains, than the bounty of the age-old hills. Let all these rest on the head of Joseph, on the brow of the prince among his brothers. Benjamin is a ravenous wolf. Remember, he's the youngest now. In the morning, he devours the prey. In the evening, he divides the plunder. Ooh, excuse me, guys. Then he gave them these instructions. I am about to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave in the field of Ephraim and the Hittite. Excuse me. The Hittite. The cave in the field of Machpelah, near Mamre in Canaan, which Abram bought as a burial place from Ephraim the Hittite, along with the field. There Abraham and his wife Sarah were buried. There Isaac and his wife Rebekah were buried. And there I buried Leah. The field and the cave in it were brought from the Hittites. When Jacob had finished giving instructions to his sons, he drew his feet up into the bed, breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. Gathered to his people. So Israel or Jacob, they're the same people, same person. They, or he, blesses all his sons. And some of the things that stuck out was, one was Issachar was a raw-boned donkey lying down between two saddlebags. Dan, it's like the serpent by the roadside. Those are just some of the ones that are interesting, that kind of stuck out the most to me. Chapter 50, might as well finish on 50. However, Joseph threw himself upon his father and wept over him and kissed him. Then Joseph directed the physicians in his service to embalm his father Israel. So the physicians embalmed him, taking a full 40 days, for that was the time required for embalming. And the Egyptians mourned for him 70 days. When the days of mourning had passed, Joseph said to Pharaoh's court, if I have found favor in your eyes, speak to Pharaoh for me. Tell him, my father made me swear an oath and said, I am about to die. Bury me in the tomb I dug for myself in the land of Canaan. Now let me go up and bury my father, then I will return. Pharaoh said, go up and bury your father, as he made you swear to do. So Joseph went up to bury his father. All Pharaoh's officials accompanied him, the dignitaries of his court and all the dignitaries of Egypt, beside all the members of Joseph's household and his brothers and those belonging to his father's household. Only their children and their flocks and herds were left in Goshen. Chariots and horsemen also went up with them. It was a very large company. When they reached the threshing floor of Attar near the Jordan, they lamented loudly and bitterly, and there Joseph observed a 7-day period of mourning for his father. When the Canaanites who lived there saw the mourning at the threshing floor of Attar, they said, the Egyptians are holding a solemn ceremony of mourning. This is why that place near the Jordan is called Abel Mizraim. So Jacob's sons did as he had commanded them. They carried him to the land of Canaan and buried him in the cave in the field of Machpelah near Mamre, which Abraham had brought as a burial place from Ephron the Hittite, along with the field. After burying his father, Joseph returned to Egypt, together with his brothers and all the others who had gone with them to bury his father. When Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, what if Joseph holds a grudge against us and pays us back for all the wrong we did to him? So they sent word to Joseph, singing, your father left these instructions before he died. This is what you are to say to Joseph. I ask you to forgive your brothers the sins and the wrongs they committed in treating you so badly. They treated him bad. Now please forgive the sins of the servants of the God of your father. When their message came to him, Joseph wept. His brothers then came and threw themselves down before him. We are your slaves, they said. But Joseph said to them, don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So then, don't be afraid. I'll provide for you and your children. And he reassured them and spoke calmly to them. Look at that. That's just so beautiful to me. You intended to harm me, But first he says, don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? And can I like make all judgment? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So then, don't be afraid. I'll provide for you and your children. He reassured them and spoke kindly to them. What if God's speaking to you? What is he saying to you? Someone hurt you. People hurt you. A huge amount of coordinated attacks from people, spiritual warfare type of thing. And how do you deal with that person? How do you deal with them, right? A lot of times God uses rough things to make us, to bring us closer to him, to guide us, bring us, give us direction, kind of like a shepherd's staff in a way. Kind of keep you this way, kind of guide you that way. And where he says this, think about him saying it to you. You intended to harm me. Or you're saying this to the people that hurt you, but from God. You tell them, you intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. In my life, what I thought was just so rough and that kind of what's the word? Feeling of being treated so badly by my brother and my sister. It really takes a lot out of you. It's like the Hulk punches you in the gut, right? And no one will understand until you're there. You can explain it, you can tell stories about it, but until you are that person in that seat, feeling those emotions and that spiritual and emotional attack or stresses, then you don't understand. But I understand Joseph, not to the extent like Joseph, but I understand a taste. I've had a taste of Joseph's being treated so badly. And so you turn to them and then say, what God meant for good, he's using it to accomplish what is now being done and saving many lives. So when this happened to me, it like locked me down for a little bit. God helping me, God bringing people, words from certain friends. One friend in particular, the timing of her words and because of who she is and how I've known her for so long, sometimes it's the word from somebody like that it felt like I was just stuck on this. Like, say there's this rock right here, and you're trying to go forward, but this rock's in the way. Well, like her word and just everything, inspiration was like boom. It like blew this thing out of the way, so I could continue moving forward. And whatever it is that you're going through that might have you feeling like this, just know, it will pass. And God is good. He might send someone to lift you up with the right word at the right time, fill you up with the Holy Spirit. Get into this Bible. Get into this Bible, man. If you get into this Bible and put it here instead of all the other crap in the world, it's going to be so much happier. You're going to be so much stronger morally, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You deserve it. Your family deserves it. So he says, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. I would like to go out and as a result of what I went through and the inspiration I now have and the strength to go out and help save many lives. Spiritually, people save their spirit, but also help them physically too, like Jesus did. I'll provide for you and your children. So he's still providing, right? Joseph is, even though they jerked him around, and he reassured them and spoke kindly to them. Joseph stayed in Egypt, along with all his father's family. He lived 110 years and saw the third generation of Ephraim's children. Also, the children of Machir, son of Manasseh, were placed at birth on Joseph's knees. Then Joseph said to his brothers, I am about to die, but God will surely come to your aid and take you up out of this land to the land he promised on oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Joseph made the sons of Israel swear an oath and said, God will surely come to your aid, and then you must carry my bones up from this place. So Joseph died at the age of 110, and after they embalmed him, he was placed in a coffin. So, my gosh, I read through this and I drop some insights or something, as we read, like an understanding that I might have, or a word picture. In this here, the goal is to go through the Bible at a decent pace and to complete the Bible online and with videos and stuff like that for people in the world, school of life students, so on and so forth. But it's so much in here, I just want to stop and like really, 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 really just focus and study. Because there's so much in here. Everything, and I'm just going to kind of touch on some of the things from the blessing of Jacob's sons to the forgiveness of Joseph forgiving his brothers who treated him so badly. And then even saying, hey, I'm still going to take care of, hey, am I in the place of God? There's, don't worry, he did that, or he allowed you guys to treat me like this and put me in this position because he had good plans for to accomplish for saving people's lives. Wow, there's so much in here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end it at this. That's the end of Genesis, actually. The next book that we are going to be moving into is the book of Exodus. Son of a gun, the book of Exodus. What an exciting book to me. Well, that's it, guys. School of Light. People visiting. If you are wanting to know more about God through a structured, organized mail correspondence course, let us know. Contact me. We'll send you the materials free. It's one at a time with a prepaid self-addressed stamped envelope that you can return your answers in. And we keep track of that. Once you complete a series, we give you a certificate of completion. And after that certificate of completion, you have enough certificates of completion depending on the levels of the series that you're on. It can also apply for college credit if you're looking to go toward college or go in that direction. There's a lot of courses that we have for everybody from ages 4 through one time in the last year and a half or two. One of our students was like 89 years old. A large percentage of our School of Light students are incarcerated. Whether you're a adolescent in in jail, or if you're an adult in jail, and you would like this, let us know. We'll mail it to you too, and hopefully it spreads in your jail. And it's not only you with the studies; it's you, and then someone else asks for it, and then someone else asks for it, and then you guys can have a study together. Well, God bless you guys. God's best toward you, and remember, read this Bible. It's one of the ways that you unlock your understanding of God, your understanding of the world. When I look at life in view or in reference from this, marriages, that's set up to be beautiful and to bless you and to just bring so much joy to you. But we do things wrong in our culture. God has the prescription for good marriages. relationships with your daughter, relationship with your son, relationship with um, your mother, your father. It's everything is just so much more beautiful whenever your frame of reference and your truth and your mind is exposed to the light of God's word. Have a good one. God bless you from the school light. God bless you from me. And what else can I say? We'll see you next time.